Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you who are new to my channel, child, let me introduce you to the Jungle Beauty Goddesses, the life-size fabric sculpture dolls you see sitting behind me. I created these dolls myself, and as I was sewing them, they would not stop talking to me. And this led to my Jungle Beauty Goddess book series and my Jungle Beauty Goddess Oracle deck that I am going to use today to give you an inspirational reading about how to make really good decisions, child. I am a sleepy hot mess today, I'm telling you, but I'm trying to keep some promises to myself. So the first card I have for you is from the Matter, who is the father of the Jungle Beauty Goddesses. And his message is, acknowledge your shadow self. Child, I don't know if you know who your shadow self is. Woo! Your shadow self is the part of you that you have pushed aside because you feel it's okay. The best way to describe it is, let's say there's something that you absolutely hate about other people. Yeah, your shadow self is everything you hate about other people, and you have literally denied it in yourself, but all that denial created like a monster, and that's your shadow self. So that's the part of you that's like, maybe like, let's say you're a kind of person who feel like you look down on people who, eat Burger King. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. Or who don't go to the gym. But then you hate that part of you whenever you decide, well, I just want to have a donut today. And then you feel really guilty. So you're creating this version of yourself that contains all of the things that you don't like about other people. But the thing about the shadow self that is so powerful is that even though you have like pushed it to the side and you've denied it and you don't really care for that part, you don't care for that in other people or yourself, it still is controlling you to a certain degree. So if you are disconnected from the part of you that really wants to eat Burger King, or the part of you that really likes to partake in like juicy gossip every now and then, because I know sometimes like there are people who feel like, I had a friend who felt like, how could you even talk about Kim Kardashian or talk about, something frivolous? But I like, some juicy conversation every now and then. But I could tell that she was creating this part of herself that it's like if she was just always serious. But anyway, so just remember, acknowledging your shadow self, that part of you that you are in denial about. That's why your jealousy is. All of the things that, all the things that you don't like about other people that you still have in yourself, and it's a part of you that is working at an unconscious level that can be stopping you, preventing you from really reaching your highest goals. So the next card I have for you is from Jungle Beauty Goddess Namib, who represents our crown chakra, and her message is it for your highest good and the highest good for all? When you make a decision that is for your highest good, it is really for the highest good of all. So let's say, for example, your parents are forcing you to go to school to be a doctor, but you really hate it. But you're doing it because you think that going to school to please your parents is going to be for the highest good of all. But let's just say you just become a doctor because of your parents, right? And you're a horrible doctor, and it's like you have a bad reputation. God only knows how many people you're responsible for losing, and it's all because you made a decision that was not for your highest good. So whenever we make decisions that really come from a place that sometimes people think is selfish, like people may feel like, I can't believe that you would, spend your time, baking cookies or whatever. But it's like, whenever you make a decision that is for your highest good, that is the decision for the highest good of others. And a lot of times people really want to I don't know why people do this, but sometimes they want to tell you how to live your life. Child, I don't want nobody to tell me how to live my life. I don't want anybody to tell me how I should be or who I should be with. And I also don't feel comfortable telling other people that. Like I might, tell my kids things, but at the end of the day, I'm going to always support whatever choices that they make. So just remember that when you are making a decision, whatever is for your highest good is when you are being true to yourself. Because remember when Jungle Beauty Goddess Safari said it best, that you would never fail when you are being yourself. Child, please ignore my nails, because that was going to be my excuse not to make a video. Okay, so I'm just trying to do better. And when you acknowledge your shadow self, that's that part of you that may be that part of you who wants to, please your parents. The part of you that doesn't want to be looked upon as rebellious, right? So that's your shadow self. So you would never stand up to your parents, or you would never stand up to your siblings, or you would never stand up to people you respect and tell them that you really want to be a drummer. You know what I mean? So now, but if you acknowledge your shadow self, the part of you that is really sincere and honest, then you can make decisions that are in alignment with who you really are. And when somebody is doing something that they love, oh my God, have you ever eaten a burger before? And the burger was so good because the people love their jobs. They love what they do. Like I love it when people love what they do, because it's like they bring so much pleasure and joy in the world. So that's another part of making a big important part of making the decisions, is making sure that you are coming from the most authentic and honest place in your being. The next card I have for you is from Jungle Beauty Goddess Safari, who is sitting over here, darling, with her soulmate, but that's a whole nother story. And Jungle Beauty Goddess Safari's message to you is, you will never fail when you are being yourself. Child, sometimes when I read stuff like this, I forget that I created it, and it just breaks me all the way down. So this card reminds me of when I was in the final stages of interviewing for my job teaching at a college, right? And I know that when you are going for a job interview, you're supposed to dress professional. You wear like your navy blue and my little pearl earrings, and you wear your hair back in a bun. I know how to look for an interview. But I had gone through, I think it was like I think this was the fourth interview, and this was with the president, the vice president. And I decided, I had a breakdown. I had a breakdown, and I decided that, because this was like the fourth interview, and it was looking like, dang, like, is this ever going to end? Like, maybe, and I know people were saying, well, you're probably not going to get it because it doesn't take that long. But I had decided that I was going to wear a hot pink suit. I'll never forget this. I wore a hot pink suit with a big hot pink flower in my hair, okay, for the last interview with the president and the vice president. Because I decided that night, when I cried myself to sleep, I said, God, I don't want to be where I'm not wanted and where I can't be myself. And I said, this pink suit that I wore, it was my favorite suit. It was hot pink, and it was just my favorite suit. And I knew when I put it on that morning, I was shaking. I was like, I knew it was inappropriate for a job interview. When I put that big old pink flower like on the side, I was like, they're not gonna pick me. But I don't want to be chosen if I can't be myself, because if I want to be eliminated early so that I can find some place where I'm, so I can find a job where I'm really going to be happy. Because prior to that, I had, been a therapist, and I don't know if I talked about that before, but Yeah, I need a drink for that. But anyway, I'm that person that if you're crying, I'm crying with you. We both crying. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm depressed, and you're depressed, and I'm supposed to be helping you. But so I realized after the 13 years of like helping people that my own, well-being and mental health was at stake. And I just said I want to be in an environment where people were self-selected, not quarter-pointed or I wanted to be in an energy around people who were on a journey to their dreams. And I didn't know in what capacity. But the point of I'm making is I decided at some point when I was interviewing, I was trying to be the person that I thought that they wanted me to be. We had to do a teaching demo, and I was dressing like, the way you're supposed to dress at a job interview. And then it's like when I got to the very last interview, I don't know, it was almost like I was afraid that I was self-sabotaging, but I felt in my spirit that night after I had my breakdown with God, I was just like, I just want to be someplace where I can really be myself. And if I can't be myself, I want them to look at me like, yeah, she's not going to, we don't want her. So I did get the job, and I've been there like for over 20 years now. But I decided that being myself was just the only way that I was going to be happy and be able to hopefully help other people to be happy as well. So the next card I have for you, let me hurry up and get to these cards because I want to hurry up and tell you this. So the next card I have is, it says Fork in the Road. And I can't remember which deck this is from. But it's talking about, when you're at a fork in the road and you're trying to make a decision and you don't know which way to go. And I can't believe, like, when I pull these cards, I'll just have all the cards together and just say, okay, what is the overall message? And then the next card, I think this is from my magical deck, and it's about dreams, but it has, two cards. It's about how to, choose the right dream, the right goal, the right path to take. And then I can't believe that I pulled this card from it's like a tarot deck, but I can't think of the name of it. It's real familiar. And it's the Two of Wands, right? So to me, the overall inspirational message from this hand, it's about being able to make good decisions in your life to propel your life forward. Like when you're stuck, like what process are you going to use to make sure that you select like the right dream, that you follow the right path in life? And I think a lot of times people are never really sure, like, well, how do I know if I should take this job or if I should do this or do that? So I'm going to tell you my little method on how I make really tough decisions. I wouldn't suggest it. I mean, I'm just that person. But for me, one of the ways that I make really, really tough decisions, and I always, I tell people this, is that those little like hourglasses, those little, what do you call those little sand time glasses where you can see the sand, coming out, and then when your time is up? Well, I always tell people, imagine that everybody, from the moment that you were born, you were given one of those little hourglasses, those little time things, with the sand, and you knew exactly how much time you have left on the planet. Like there was just no question. Oh God. If you could see your time running out, would you spend your time differently? Would you like dump some people? Would you make would you be a totally different person if you knew exactly when you were going to leave this planet? I know I would. So when I'm ready to make a tough decision, I always imagine that little hour, little sand clock, whatever it is. And I tell people, whether you can see it or not, it's still there. Right? So this helps me to eliminate people that I really don't want to be around. It helps me decide quickly if this is how I want to spend my time. If I only have a certain amount of time left, child, and I'm looking at my little sand going down, and I know this is not going to be something that's going to be for my highest good, or that I'm really not going to enjoy it, you know what I'm saying? I'm literally not going to waste my time. So that's one way to make a tough decision. Imagine the scene coming through and seeing exactly how much time you have left and saying to yourself, like, okay, there is absolutely no way it looks like I got a couple days or whatever. And I'm not going to spend my time doing A, B, C, D, and E. So that's one way. The other way to make a really good tough decision when you're like, two of wands, I don't know, should I do this or should I do that? Should I go here or should I go there? I like to imagine that this is still ties into the other one, is if I knew that I had like, a year to live, it helps me narrow things down. Like, I remember I was in the hospital once. I was going through menopause, and, they thought I was like dying. And, the doctors and the nurses were looking at me like, tell God I said, what's up? Yeah! They were looking at me like, oh God, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bye-bye. And I was just like, dang, I was like, God, I mean, I don't want to die, but I said, I really need time to finish book 3. Like, I knew immediately that when they were just trying to figure out, like, what's going on with this girl, like, and I knew my first thought was, I need to finish book 3. So whenever I'm aware of when something serious happened and I know that my time may be limited, or there's something serious happens, or, sometimes when people, they'll have a beef with somebody and maybe they're not speaking to them, and then they find out that person, only have so much time to live, or maybe that person dies or something happens and they have so much regret. Like, what I'm going to say is, I'm really not that person. If I love you, I'm going to tell you. If I just don't hold back. I'm not going to live my life like that. So, because to me, whether you do it or not, the outcome is the same. Whether you jump in, whether you propose to that person, whether you go to school, apply for that job, whatever, it doesn't matter, because the outcome is still the same. So you might as well enjoy the journey, right? Because you're going to die no matter what you do. And then the other way, the other method I use whenever I'm stuck and I'm trying to make a decision, and this is my favorite way, is I always want to tell my grandkids really cool stories. When I'm like 199, and I'm sitting there with my little, whiskey, whatever, and my grandkids, they're gonna want to come to see their grandma, because they're gonna say, Grandma got the best stories. I'm gonna like tell my, I want to be able to say, Grandma did ABC, I did this. Of course, like, go for it. Like, I feel like when I'm trying to entertain myself and I'm like in my last phases of the winter season of my life, I want to know that I just enjoyed every moment, and that I went for gold, that I told the people that I love them, that I went, whether or not you get the job, it's more important that you apply for it. It's to me, even like sometimes, I don't know, you'll see, I may wear some wig or some hairstyle. I'm not that crazy about it, but it's just the fact that I wanted to do something different and I just want to do it again. But to me, to live every day the same, and to not tell the people that I love them, to not live the life of my dreams, when I know that no matter what happens, the outcome is the same, not just for me, but for everybody. Like, the outcome is the same for everybody. And so if I'm gonna die, I remember like, even like, to me, it's like, I feel like if I'm gonna die, no matter what I do, then I might as well do what I really want to do. I might as well live my life the way I want to live my life. You know what I'm saying? So, so basically, guys, if you are stuck right now and you're trying to decide, how to make a decision, just imagine yourself you know, so, well, the other way too is if it's something really simple and it's not expensive, just try them both. Like if you're trying to decide between 2 wigs, then it really just buy them both and just, hey, whatever. But sometimes when we have like these really tough decisions, or I tell people before you pick a major, maybe you should just take classes, from both sides. Like maybe take your social work classes, take your teaching classes. But big picture, when you're really trying to make a tough decision, I feel like the decision you should make is the one that when you review your life, when you go back to your spiritual team, like, what story do you want to tell? Do you want to have them like laughing in stitches? Do you want to have a pathetic life where it's like you never really lived your dreams, you never tried, it's like live your life boldly, go for it, go for gold. So what it doesn't, like, listen, even if you get in student loan debt or whatever, I know people are always against that, but I feel like, hey, it'll be here. You know what I'm saying? It's not real. Nothing is real but the experience of living. So if you're trying to make a tough decision, child, just think about the story you want to tell your grandkids, or the story you want to tell your nieces and nephews, the story that you want to tell yourself when you're sitting there in that rocking chair and you're like sitting there with your pipe and your whiskey and you're just like smiling, like, I want to give myself good memories. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want to be able to entertain myself with my stories. Well, I really hope this video helps somebody. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you, darling, in the next video.